Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy, and this is of particular note if you drive an electric vehicle. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Neil, 10th Man, Refracted Curvature, Arwin, Eli and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hey, good morning.
Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. It's all the same to me. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge, that's a horizon formerly known as Earth curve?
It's the horizon in the math.
No, in the math, the horizon measurement can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's the geometric horizon. We've got imagery that shows it's way beyond that. It's called Black Swan. So no, Earth curve is not the horizon. The horizon is not Earth curve. We do not have a physical geometric limitation. Hence the question formerly known as Earth curve, because the horizon isn't Earth curve. You might want to believe that it's blocking boats and buildings with its Earth curviness. It isn't. We've debunked that.
The horizon can't be Earth curve, else we wouldn't be able to attain elevation angles.
Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle from a curved adjacent? That'd be a sphere Earth falling away from you.
That violates geometry.
Yeah, you can't do that one in the math. You actually have to do it in the visual real world.
What? No, you can do it in both, but the starting process is measuring an angle. That is necessitated by a physical measurement in actuality. You can then maths it and do all sorts of useful things with it. But that measurement in the first instance... John, take it away.
It must appear flat, but it has to be geometrically flat for it to be an angle.
So to do this, to measure this angle in the first instance, regardless of what you're going to do for it, if you're going to use it to measure the star to get its GP at 90 and minus that angle from 90 to give you a distance to it, that comes after measuring an angle that necessitates a flat Earth to measure it. Likewise, as discussed in the pre-show, Al-Biruni, the methodology that Al-Biruni used proved that first you must use a flat Earth if you're going to be measuring an angle. So to get the height of the mountain, Al-Biruni utilised a flat Earth methodology.
Well, maybe they can use a non-geometric angle.
There's no such beast, I'm afraid. What are you talking about?
Optical angles.
Apparent, not actual.
Yes.
Yeah, you can calculate those with diffraction limits and so forth. Yes, you can calculate those sorts of things with diffraction limits, and you can work them out if you've got the knowledge of the lenses that you're using, or if you're using it with the eye. Yeah, you can do all of those things, but you're talking about apparent things, not geometric things, not measurements. of things that give you distances when you're applying maths to those measurements. You're talking about something very different when you talk about diffraction limits and angular resolution limits and optical phenomena. All of those are apparent.
Right. So a sextant isn't an instrument to actually determine whether the Earth is flat or a ball. So it's just not relevant.
Well,
right?
it is
You can
relevant
use
because
it, you can
it is
use
very,
it optically.
It is relevant because it couldn't function on a spherical surface because you couldn't get that angle.
Not without terrestrial refraction.
Well, no, that's the trick right there, isn't it? It doesn't matter about the apparent nature of it. It's for it to be an angle. That's a geometric concept. It must be flat.
Well, we're not dealing with geometric concepts. We're
Yes, we
dealing
are.
with real-world
No,
observations.
it's not going to work. I'm not going to let you hand wave it. John's got to the nub of this because we happened to discuss it before you got it in the pre-show, right? So I left my mic closed for John to deal with this, and he has very swiftly dealt with it. You just hand waving off that we're not using geometry. That's not going to fly. Got anything else, Alwyn? Notice how quick we dealt with this today,
Yeah.
John. If you were here, I'd high five you.
It's an optical measurement, right? The geometry is not involved.
Yes,
right?
it
It's
is.
not a
Second time
process
of-
in order to establish the Earth being a ball or flat. So it's not relevant.
That's a separate entity. To acquire the angle, it is and must be flat. That's very different to you saying the tool's not being used to establish whether or not it is. No, it's using a principle of the ground, an aspect, if you will. It's utilising that. And that aspect cannot be curved. You saying, well, it's not a tool for measuring whether or not it's curved. It's like, no, it's using the fact it's flat. Not determining it. It couldn't not be, otherwise it wouldn't work.
Well, when you're dealing with a light-based instrument, the biggest worry is how the light's going to respond, right? And yeah, even though the light is not technically abiding by normal geometry, doesn't mean that it can still work if you just overlook that fact that light bends, and then it all just works out flat.
The moment you say light, no, back to John. I won't. Go ahead, John. Say it again. Because when light's bending, it's not flat, it's not straight.
Doesn't have to be.
Yes, it does.
Right, then it's
We're
not an
measuring
angle.
straight lines. Sorry, John. I just did hand over to you. My bad.
No, apparent straight lines don't have to be actual.
Violations of geometry.
Geometry is a concept.
Are all the buildings where you live crooked?
That's
Armin?
a non sequitur. Yeah, we're applying this to what we measure, and that measurement had to is a straight line. So the moment you say refraction, okay, so you've got a curved Earth with terrestrial refraction bending like those two bends that you've now got. Two bends don't make a straight, Arwyn. And it must be straight to be a measurement of an angle. That is a fact. Again, no referring back do-si-do style to, yeah, but it's not being used to measure what the surface is. No, it's utilising an aspect of the surface.
Only apparently.
Which is flat.
No, in practice, not only apparently, when you actually apply it, it works. This is now into celestial navigation. Did you want to, Baldwin, argue against the process of celestial navigation, which is not mine?
Yeah, but celestial navigation doesn't actually explain the geometry of the Earth. It just makes you go by the celestial light orientation, right?
No, it doesn't show you. The same bloody argument, but with celestial navigation at the helm now rather than me. No, it doesn't show you that. It utilises an aspect. And if that aspect wasn't flat, it wouldn't work. John's already explained. It would violate the principle. And no, yes, we are using geometry before you go there again as well. Hopefully I've kept track of every single non sequitur he's employed, so he doesn't double down on any of them again.
Well, I have a final rebuttal to that, if I may.
Of course.
Right.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, I don't think that you can prove that the sextant wouldn't work on an apparent flat plane with terrestrial refraction.
Then you've got two curves. Terrestrial. I've just covered this. I did miss one.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
2 curves don't make a straight. I did cover this. Typically in my summary, I missed it, so he launched into the same rebuttal. No, 2 curves don't make a straight line.
It doesn't have to.
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
That's the
you're
principle you're using. Non sequitur. 3rd time you've used that one.
flat plane.
You've used that 3 times.
Yeah, because it's a logical, consistent argument.
No, it isn't.
Arwen, what's an angle?
Yes, it
Define
is.
No, it violates
Alright, define
geometry.
an
It's not logically consistent. You've already had that broken down by John. It violates the geometry principle you're employing.
Define an angle, Arwen.
Visually or geometrically?
Geometrically,
Define an
we're
angle.
doing geometry.
No, but you're
There
using
are-
an optical instrument.
There are no visual angles, Arwen, unless you draw them on a sheet of paper. Then
Right,
that's
so there
geometry.
are. Thanks for immediately proving yourself wrong.
No, you're drawing them on a sheet of paper.
Yeah, so you can see them
Non
now.
sequitur. Yeah.
Hold on,
Yeah,
I'll be
so
interested-
now it's a
hold on,
visual
hold on.
angle.
This came up yesterday on Bev's channel. Shout out to you, Bev. I was watching your show yesterday, and you had a guy that was essentially deriving a description of a geometric principle on paper off a curved surface. And Bev went round and round with him forever, pointing out that no, you're not actually doing this. You're just drawing a line on a sphere. As in, it isn't happening in physical reality. You're not taking any measurements. You're just describing how you think it would work when on paper you draw a curve on a sphere.
Right, but that's not what you actually do when you utilize a sextant, though. You
That's
actually just
so now Arwen's
use
using our argument.
visuals in the real world.
Hold on, who is this? It's not fair when you do this, because I don't know if you're now stepping into actually confirming our argument, which this is, or staying as Baldwin and trying to do the Baldwin, I'll use your argument like it's working against you. In fact, it's the winning point we've won with. Are you now still Baldwin, or are you actually backing us in our point that wins? Because you're phrasing it like you're phrasing it back to me like it's a winning argument for you as Baldwin.
So you're going for ad hom now and not sticking to the facts anymore?
What are you talking about? There was no ad hom in there. I was just clarifying. Is it Baldwin that's putting it to us? In which case, I've got to respond in the respect that you're now phrasing this argument as though it's against me when it's our winning argument. But if it's you saying it as our win, not playing devil's advocate, in other words, for the audience who don't follow, then you're confirming where we win. And I'll just tap you on the back and go, yeah, that's right, Arwin. That's where we win, isn't it?
Well, what if it's just both?
Baldwin.
No fair.
Yeah, but look, it doesn't matter if you win against the ball argument. The ball argument's always going to keep going. So I'll just give you that win.
Ah,
and that
now
way
I get
we
it.
win.
Okay, good point. No, Arwin's just twigged something that needs ironing out in this argument. So, where do they get a draw? That's the best they can hope for. Well, if you can drag the argument out into the mildest of confusion, or length, in this example, then people lose track of the winning argument. Unless it's reiterated at nausea with someone telling you that you're just repeating yourself when you repeat your winning argument. That's normally the opponent on the ball side. But Arwin's now pointing out that he can, if he chooses to, just lengthen the time we spend discussing this, and occasionally paraphrasing the argument we make like it's a devastating point against us. And then, hopefully, there'll be enough people in the audience that don't appreciate that all he's going for is a draw, and that dilutes the win. Good point, Arwin. I'm glad you've done it. Now you've done it, I'm smiling as opposed to annoyed at you.
Woohoo! Let me try to ruin that for you. No, just kidding. People
No,
in chat
I'm-
seem to be agreeing with my technical arguments, though. Although people might be a big
Yeah, they're
word
both
for it.
sailed. We've covered it 5 times, so let's not do that again. It's not going to. Now your point's been drawn out, and I've explained that you're drawing it out for the dilution of the win. There's no need to do it again. Let's not go there. I'll just ask another housekeeping question. Unless we want to discuss Arwin's tactics.
Hold on. Let me rephrase it.
As long as you realize that I basically like the format of what I did just won. Doesn't matter whether I won the argument, but the format won. So it's going to persist.
No, I get it.
But here-
I totally get it.
Let me
Before you go,
reformat
John,
it then.
I'll just read out the super chat to Samuel Goat, who says, "Great show as always, fellas. Favorite flat Earth songs? Question mark. For the chat claims down. Before the chat calms down. Mine is I Know There's Something Going On by Frida. Okay. I don't have any favourite flat Earth songs as such. I listen to mainstream pop music, and a lot of it's got heliocentric nonsense in it, to be honest. But there we go. That's me. Thank you very much for the super chat, Samuel Goat. Go ahead, John. I'm
Well,
sorry.
Flat Earth Man has a couple
Not
of
you, Arwin.
memorable Flat Earth songs.
Go ahead, John. Sorry to ruin your flow.
Well, yeah, this is just a reverse of our argument, but it would have to hold true that it can appear to curve, else you can't use an optical instrument to measure an angle, and geometrically it can't curve, else you can't acquire an angle.
Yeah, the geometric aspect that you're acquiring when you make the optical measurement is one of horizontal nature, not one of a curved or tangent-based nature. Because if it was, you wouldn't be measuring an elevation angle at all. That's not what you'd be doing. But you are doing that. So you are using the aspect of horizontal. That's precisely what measuring an elevation angle is.
So not refracting at a rate of r.
No, the moment you imply that, you're no longer measuring an elevation angle. That's the bottom line.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem with light bending is it doesn't really work out well when you're actually going to try to represent it with mathematics and geometry, right? So that's why you have to compartmentalize actual visual observation in which things will very much seem flat versus the geometry in which you just can't really properly represent how the light really works. It's just intangible.
Shout out to Godzilla 37. It says, instead of how about favourite flat earth songs as sung by Neil? Thank you very much for the super chat, Godzilla. Really appreciate the support.
Y'all could just get over that flat plane.
Don't get hung up
Right.
on it.
The problem about the ball Earth is you can't really show it.
Well,
Because
no,
of
you
the
can't
nature of
measure it.
light.
You can't measure it. Measure. Black Swan shows you haven't got a physical geometric limitation at the horizon called Earth curve. That shows you can't measure the sphere Earth and claim the geometry of a sphere. So what geometry do we use when we look through the sextant? What's the aspect that we use? Say it with me.
Flat plane geometry.
Right. So we're not employing sphere geometry with Earth curve, horizon. That is not what we are doing. That doesn't work.
can't.
We've debunked that geometry, haven't we, Arwin? The physical geometric Earth curve, horizon. We've debunked that, haven't we, Arwin?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, since the nature of light is not as straightforward as we would all like, pun intended, yeah. The geometry can't really apply to visual measurement, right? Which is how we
Of a
measure
sphere.
the Earth.
No. Of a sphere. You can absolutely acquire a horizontal. And one of the methods of doing that, that's using an aspect of the ground you're standing on. Yeah? You can do that with a sextant. If you're a ball-believing clown with a geometric horizon debunked by the Black Swan, you can't even look at a sextant. Because one of the lines it's going to be using is going to be off a curved surface. No, I mean, it doesn't work. And we've debunked their original assertion of that sphere Earth geometry. It's gone. So when they start their process, if Adam was here, he'd be spitting feathers. When they start their process by looking at a geometric horizon and telling you how they're going to correct for it with dip. Sorry, what did you say? You've got a geometric horizon tangent point now, have you, Cloud Show? No, we debunked your geometric physical tangent point horizon, and you told us how bent the line was. Well, we're not using bent lines when we measure straight lines with this tool, are we? It's the end of the argument. It's no longer a debate. It's no longer agree, disagree. It's a fact of the aspect of the ground we are standing on, that it is flat.
No, it's not the end of the argument. It's a dead end of the argument because, yeah, you just explained how we can't actually use straight lines in optics to measure things. Yeah, so it's a dead end. We can't use visuals to prove the Earth is a globe because
We do.
Was.
He's Baldwin still. I was about to go nuts thinking he was Arwin, not agreeing with me. And in fact, he's going to go for Baldwin with the concession. Go ahead. I can't believe I interrupted. Sorry.
no, you were basically right in the sense that, yeah, we can't use visuals to measure the Earth as a ball because the light nature of light will always make it appear flat. Which is kind of tragic because, yeah, it was originally introduced like, oh, boats going over the horizon, assuming that light all goes into straight lines, and it actually doesn't. So it's like this embarrassing mistake that we used just to kind of quickly explain it away to people how it should work. And then the nature of light just completely ruined that over time, right? And now we're left with no proof of a radius value. We just have to kind of assume it because it works out in the math.
Such a dizziness in your
It does not work.
No, it doesn't. I just
doesn't.
want to shout out Bex. I'm sorry, it keeps landing on you, John, when you want to make a point. It'll be you next. I think Bex is taking the piss out of my car. He sent me a super chat and said, "To saving for a real ride." Look, man, I pretend. What is it? How can I phrase this? I think of my very old car as a brand new Lamborghini. You can think of it as a brand new Lamborghini too. Based on that, I drive a Lamborghini.
Well, based on how light refracts, it is a Lamborghini.
Absolutely. You can think of it as a Lamborghini. Thank you very much for the super chat, Bex.
Arwen just did two things there. One, he attacked celestial navigation. And two, he said there's no proof for a sphere as a way of arguing for the sphere. Or Baldwin.
Yeah, that was
What?
very out of... That wasn't
No, I never
characteristic.
attacked celestial
He-
navigation.
I rumpused it last time, and I hopefully won't do it again. Yeah, he conceded, didn't he, John? No, I know that concession was followed up by an attack on celestial navigation, which isn't our claim. It's just how it's done. It is called celestial navigation as opposed to a flat earther claiming elevation angle measurements are required for something. No, that's just the process of celestial navigation. But he indeed conceded you can't measure Earth as a ball. We wouldn't have got that out of a real baller. Arwen, poor show.
No, you would. At this point, you would, but they would just do it very quickly and then immediately.
Show me one. Show me one. I got
I'm
told.
sorry, but they say it's all the time among themselves.
Contrary to that belief, I got told not to get hung up on it, Arwen. That's what actually happens. I got a concession. No, I got told don't get hung up on the flat plane you've just proven.
Right. Exactly.
That's not a concession. That's not saying I can't measure a sphere Earth, which is what you said.
Well, I'm just getting ahead of the curve here. That's all.
Okay.
By the way, Nathan, congratulations, 1600th show.
It is, yeah. 1600 show today.
Yeah. Awesome.
And obviously, because it's such a milestone, I'm going to say smash that PayPal link because it's been a disastrous 2 months. I'm really poor. So any help would be greatly appreciated. Smash the PayPal link in the info box below this video. Someone had yesterday, so I won't name you because you didn't specifically say I could. But thank you very much to the person who sent me a PayPal yesterday. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
I don't know the messages.
And I've been here since the beginning. All right? James Harlan and stopping traffic with my Rasta hat.
What would you call it at the time of the strongest points of this argument being made is your worst time financially? There's a word for that. Ironic, maybe.
Maybe. No, it's not, though, because I know I've been doing this long enough to know the stats. Another useful thing is to know whether or not to panic. And this is a slightly elongated story, so I'll beg your indulgence. The reason I got a great big gash under my chin was because I was ill and knew that in that particular period, which was end of January, beginning of February, that's the crappiest time of the year in terms of financial outlay from YouTube. It's just, I'm a small YouTuber, therefore I'm predominantly dependent on people hitting the super chats and things like that. That's what builds up my YouTube revenue. And after Christmas, people have got less money. So I'm far more inclined to say I'm dependent on super chats and that type of revenue than I am from advertising revenue. That's a much smaller chunk. So therefore, if there's less people with less money in a particular month, that's going to affect me. It's just how it is. But I know it from patterns in the past. So what I did when I got ill was when this is the lull, I've got to work harder. So I pushed myself and then ended up messing myself up even more. And as a result, I've put in less work because I'm physically incapable. I'm a bit messed up. I've got a head injury. Well, that's not what you need when you need to put more work in and increase your output to compensate for the fact you know there's a lull at that time. Now, it's only because I've been doing it however many, 4 or 5 years, I forget now, that I've seen that pattern and can now proactively do something about it, increase my output, in other words. But that backfired badly. So now I'm like seeing the messages from YouTube. You'd normally put out X amount of videos in this period. You've only put out this amount, and that's why you're doing badly. I'm like, yeah, but I feel bad. I'm poorly. So now I'm a bit better and I'm e-begging instead. So there we go. That's life. But no, I don't think it's a coincidence in the respect that, oh, look, you've got a really good argument. Let's put the pressure on and make sure nobody gives him any money. No, I don't think that's the case at all. It's seasonal.
No, I was saying QE's done this on purpose. QE and 10th did this on purpose to you.
Oh, gave me a cracking argument. No, I'd rather have a cracking argument in a lull, because then you've got more potential to chop up stuff and put it out there and highlight the argument, and that gives me more material to work with if we've got a cracking argument to work with. So no, I don't know if I agree with that either. I wish I had.
The Black Swan was in January of 2020 as well.
It's a good time to put out new stuff. I don't know. Even if it is a good time. Technically, it's a crap time. If you want to take the calendar-based argument that it's the new year, is it? It's in the middle of winter. Is that a great time to put out a new argument? Especially just after Christmas, because you get this big build-up to, well, at least we do, to this seasonal festival, enjoyable thing that everyone looks forward to. And then straight afterwards, you're in the darkest part of the year, and everyone gets pretty miserable. So I would say it's arguably one of the worst times to put things out that are new. Put them out in spring.
It's the best time. It's actually the best time. You know why? Because there is not a lot of other things that people can basically seek out to distract themselves with. When everybody's all joy and there's money and there's festivities, people will forget things more easily because there's so much to distract them.
Couple of quick shout outs. Sorry to get you off. Shout out to Mike808 for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. And also shout out to, is it Goldie McKiernan? Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Good morning from Flat, Florida. Good morning to you too. Thank you very much indeed.
I'd like to address.
Go ahead, Tent. Sorry.
I'd like to address John.
Arwen was in the middle. Go on, Tent.
Yeah, John said Black Swan was January 2020. Sextant was January 2020, by the way. It just started that day, but I didn't bring it out until the following year.
Oh, I see. They both coincidentally, the start of the development of the sextant argument coincided literally by the day to the release of the Black Swan 1st Jan 2020. And then a year later, approximately, but by the end of 2020, you were talking about sextants and telling us and hinting about stuff, and we were saying, "Oh, just do a presentation on it," because obviously in the past little things come up and they get little presentations, but you really took your time with it. I'm glad you did. And then over the last year, 2021, you were dripping it out in the pre-show. But go on.
Yeah. By the way, Eli's going to interview me on 24/7 this coming Sunday, 6:00 Eastern time, and we're going to go into it a little bit. But when QE came out with the Black Swan modus tollens from BLMSB 69, picture, video, and taboo conspiracy, but they just showed it, but QE put it in the modus tollens and gave us the Black Swan logical consistency argument. I wanted to know what that actually meant, so I contacted QE personally, and he spent time and educated me on what he was doing. I said, "Oh, okay, I get it." And then right when I got it, this image in my mind appeared of the sextant for whatever reason. And I said out loud, right at that time for QE to hear me, I said, well, I bet anything the sextant's going to prove this point from a different angle, so to speak. And he pondered it for a minute. And then I said, I'm going to start research on it. And then he says, yeah, but keep it on the down low for now, because I think you got something there. And so that's when January 2020, I started the research, and it was just so overwhelming. I said, wait a minute, I got to get all the bugs out of this before I go, because right now I want to go now. I want to charge with it. But I said, no, just hold off. And then I set the traps and everything else. So they started simultaneously, or just about.
I do vaguely remember QE actually having a mention of the sextant. It wasn't a massive piece, but there was at least one line in the very first presentation. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure he did mention it early on, just nowhere near the kind of lengths.
Well, yeah, it's because when I brought it up, he said, "You know what? Yeah, I think you have something, but go do it separate and quietly because obviously we can come back and use it as a hammer." And so that's the way he was thinking. That's the way I was thinking. But until the investigation started, we really didn't know what would come out of it, other than an intuition that it was going to be devastating. If you follow.
Okay, I cut off Arwin just before reading out the last two super chats, so I'm going to read out another two super chats. Thank you for all the support, by the way, people in the live audience. Michael Kahn, thank you very much. One of my supporters already, but thank you for the super chat. He says, "God bless Nathan and all the panel." Thank you very much indeed, Michael. Really do appreciate the support. And again, Godzilla37, I haven't missed a single super chat from you recently, Godzilla. I'm glad I haven't as well, as you're coughing up to have them read out. So 1,600 chances. Woohoo! And we're still waiting for ballers. Discord's open, and still just crickets from you guys. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Godzilla37.
Can I apologize to 10th and QE? I was just trying to make e-begging interesting. I wasn't really implying that you guys are doing that on purpose.
Doing what on purpose?
I didn't take anything wrong.
Doing what on purpose? I've lost track of what you were talking about, to be honest. Doing what?
Oh, I was saying that they let the arguments go when it was financially the worst time for you.
I see. Because I immediately said, "Oh no, it would be bad." But what you're saying is, if you've got a lot of good stuff to talk about, that's going to generate more interest, therefore generate more revenue, and they're only doing it to help me out in a lull in the. I got you now.
Well, to coin the phrase, we are cashing in at the moment.
Well, no,
to an extent. There's lots of super chats coming in, so I'm going to read them out. So shout out to Ben Weiss, who says, "Just message for the audience. Please share the show. The globe is possibly the biggest lie ever told to man. The truth shall set you free." Smiley face. Thank you very much indeed, Ben. Really appreciate the support. One more thing before I do. Again, Arwin hasn't spoken since I cut him off about 10 minutes ago. Just want to point that out as everyone else jumps in. Also, I'd normally have done about 2 minutes ago a shout out to the normally about 100 people watching, but there's 116 right this second, and it has been up to about 120, so there's a few more people than usual watching. Please share the show. So the only reason there's over 100 people watching is because people share the show, and if you're typically not watching at this time, it'd be great if you smash the share button, stick it out on Facebook. You know the score, you know how to do it, it's really easy. Share the show. Go ahead, Arwin. Oh, he's buggered off. Fair enough. I hope I haven't annoyed him.
I don't think you probably do understand what I did, but you might not have. It was kind of a psychological ploy, and I feel bad about doing it now because I used QE and 10th. But, just an interesting way of e-begging. I shouldn't have done it.
I still don't follow, but you have to. I've asked twice now, so I won't ask again. You have to explain it to me after the fact. I'm too dumb to get it.
Well, it's about the argument being present in people's minds. It's about the idea of your need being present in people's minds. For them to.
I still don't get it.
Yeah.
We'll cover this later.
I'll explain it later.
I'd normally ask another housekeeping question, but sort of halfway through the show, when we've only asked 2 questions, that seems kind of silly. Go on, Ted.
It's so high up there that only John gets it at the moment.
It's way over my head.
Yeah, John, I never took it in a bad way, so no worries.
That said, the last super chat was on point in terms of the fact that it's particularly quiet. I know, Neil, you're normally a fighter and you want to see these fundies coming in to, I don't know, wind me up. But I'm more than happy to have a nice conversation like we're having today and point out all of the logical consistencies we have here.
Well, I think
I like that too.
If we summarize 2020 to now, January 2020 to now, between the Black Swan and the Sexton argument, and when I started the Sexton argument with some evidence, it's going to lead everyone back to the Black Swan because they're related. And so I do mean that, and I think some people will get a fuller picture later. I'm saving the best for last. I can't say what I have, but when I show it, you'll understand how this all together works with the black swan. And so when you guys on the last few shows have said it is the well-documented fact that celestial navigation works this way, and all we're doing is sharing what it can do, what it cannot do. To get to that point, since January 2020, that's a big point because they can't argue with it. They have nothing to argue with. This is their side documenting how celestial navigation works, and now these anti-flat earthers are fighting every step of the way. It's embarrassing for them.
Yes, it is. And I like the educational shows too, but I do like at the end, if a baller tries to roam in here, then it's fight time. Yes.
Hold on, did you want to add something? SPPS 28? I don't speak Morse code.
Okay.
Did you want to pop yourself on mute? SPPS 28. We can hear you typing. Thank you very much. There's a couple of other newbies that had just joined that I took off mute. Rookie 1973. Are you a newbie?
Morning. Not really a newbie, but I'm here.
I meant, did you want to add something?
No, I just came in. Thanks, though.
No worries. Good to have you, by the way. Have I missed anybody else? I don't think so.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All that talk about cashing in makes a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah.
Good one.
Very good.
I don't get
That
it.
was right up your alley.
Hold
Tex.
on. I don't get it. Can you explain it to me? The penny hasn't dropped.
Now you're pitching.
It's only
wait,
half right.
Hold on. We can't get into puns. We're only halfway through the show. let's not launch into puns this early. Towards the end of the show, I can cope with it. It's because I haven't done the rest of the housekeeping. Should I just continue with housekeeping?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's do a bit of housekeeping. Let's start from the beginning, right? I know we've asked 2 of the questions, but we'll see how quickly we get through them. Any evidence of physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
Gonna need off for that.
Okay. Any
If there
evidence? Any evidence of the R value? That's Earth radius.
If there was, we wouldn't be doing this show.
Correct.
About the R value. Any evidence
Well,
that
we
we have
might
a
have been. We
distance?
might be doing the show even if it was there, right?
No, we wouldn't. I wouldn't be wasting my time.
I wouldn't be here if there was an R value. There'd be no point.
Exactly. But there is no R value, so this is a very long argument.
Or evergreen YouTube subject, as I would say. Smash the super chat.
No, I
Yep.
would definitely still be here, and I would be acting like Flatwin constantly.
I went and had a look yesterday at a few videos that were made by people who cover topics that we use as examples that don't get attacked in a way that we do. And I can't remember what it was. I think it was like Bigfoot and the Dogman, i.e. werewolves. And I just wanted to see what they present and how they present it and what the reactions are like to them. And it's always presented in a very soft, under-researched kind of way with really crap evidence to support it. Like really, really low standard stuff. But because it's presented in a way that seems like the guy who's researching it truly believes in what he's presenting, but doesn't have the wherewithals to actually go out and investigate it to his own satisfaction to prove that what's being presented in the light he's presenting it isn't really that strong. Now, that doesn't necessarily get them any ridicule, just gets people coming along with a bit of folly to look at it to maybe kill some time. That's what I got. That's what I gleaned from the tiny bit of looking at it yesterday I did. Now, you compare that to us, and it is so at the other end of the spectrum, it's untrue. We're so hyper-specific here, with solid, logical consistency arguments that can't be overcome. right? And we get the most vitriol. It's like, we're not putting across the dog man here. We're talking about geometry and stuff. It just makes me laugh. I shouldn't be laughing. Should be weeping, really.
Well, nobody really cares about people that are wrong. It's the people that are right that are the problem. And that's universal.
I'd like to ask Arwen a question. He said, if we weren't here, meaning your show, Nathan, Flat Earth Debate, he would be here, not here because we wouldn't be here, but he would be on the internet acting as Flapwin instead of Baldwin. Now, was there a Ball Earth Debate show prior to a Flat Earth Debate show?
Nope.
So
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you're kind of asking a weird question because if you go back
No.
throughout the history, there was always the debate about the shape of the Earth. So I don't know how to answer what you're asking.
The question is, was there prior to Flat Earth Debate show, meaning the one you put on, a Ball Earth Debate? There was no debate on the ball. It was consensus, right?
No, I still stand by what I just said a moment ago, which is to say there was still plenty of people in opposition, so therefore there wasn't a Ball Earth debate. It's the same thing. It's just phrased from the opponent's side.
Cite the show then. What was it on the internet prior to Flat Earth Debate? What was it called? Who was hosting it?
Yeah, you're asking a vague question about a specific show.
I'm asking a specific question about who in the world thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to start a YouTube channel proving we live on a sphere.
Loads of people. When I say that it would be a lot more profitable to go and talk about that, I can reference all sorts of different channels that would put it out there in that fashion. They weren't necessarily debate, but I don't know what you're driving at. Make your point anyway, regardless of me not agreeing with you. Just make your point anyway.
Well, my point is, until you did your show, Flat Earth Debate, these guys were like assuming, okay, we live on a ball, there's no need to have a show. All of a sudden, we come in with the opposite, using logical consistency arguments, etc., geometry, etc. And all of a sudden, well, you know what? We better start a show, fight these flat earthers.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, this show is unique in that respect. There were people who made a smaller scale attempt at it a few times before I did it. But, I mean, even I've heard Jaron mention a couple of times in reference to this show, saying that he had considered or would have liked to have seen this show when it didn't exist. And when he had considered doing it, he just appreciated the logistical nightmare of doing it. Now, I can totally appreciate what he would have considered having gone through it. Maybe I should have given it a bit more consideration because I spent 1 year getting porn bombed and not really knowing what I was doing. And, you know, that's sitting at the deep end, not knowing how to actually run a show like this. And it is big and it is complicated. I'm not just saying that to blow my own trumpet. It's taken a lot of crap shows to get to where we are now. But what I'm saying is, no, there wasn't a show like this. Smash the super chat.
Right, but because there is a show like this, they all came crawling from under the rock.
That's correct. And it was a show like this that grabbed my attention and kept it.
Okay, it's just borderlining smoke, blowing smoke at my ass at the moment. So I'm very grateful for your appreciation, though.
It's the way you did it. It's the way you laid it out. It's the way the arguments were formed.
No,
it's the way it was very easily understood.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying I am not basically fantastic. I'm just saying this could come across as sycophantic to the audience.
Did 10th just say that Neil crawled out from underneath the rock?
I did.
Well, he is an island.
I do have a
so
cousin
far
named Rocco.
I said, should we do the housekeeping here? We've had one question that we already had. So far we've got
Arwen.
45 minutes
Because
in.
it's Arwen's fault.
It's the 16th Hunter show. The puns are going to get in there no matter what you do to stop it.
Leave your cousin alone, Neil.
Are there any ballers in chat? Or any ballers in Discord?
There
Come
are a
on, I'm
few.
in the mood for a freaking fight.
I don't know. I didn't establish or care at the time. I took them off mute and welcomed them if they were ballers or not. Didn't actually ask Neil. Gotta be honest. I didn't
Neil,
care.
just go outside your house. Neil, just step outside your house. 99% of your neighbors believe in the ball. Go start a fight.
Exactly. And those of you who claim
Too
to be
much-
banned on Facebook or whatever, saying you can't share the show, you've got a window. Just open it right now. If we're live, which we are, technically speaking, you might not be watching it when I'm saying this live because it's a repeat, or you're watching it pre-uploaded. But open your window and say Flat Earth Debate's on live right now. Check it out on YouTube. Nathan Oakley 1980. Subscribe today. You've got plenty of neighbours who are ballers.
Really should be more than 116 people watching. I'm serious
126.
about that.
126
Oh, wow.
people
Went up
watching.
Should be a lot more.
No, I asked them to
One
share when
day-
there was 116 odd, and now they have. Clearly, somebody who shared because the number of people watching has gone up. There's 126 people watching now. Thank you very much to all of you who smashed the share button as I requested. As I say, that number's gone up because somebody shared.
Nathan, what did you consider the show that Patricia Steer had? Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. I mean, that was a flat Earth, predominant flat Earth show, right?
Yeah, it was a talk show. It wasn't like this. It wasn't a debate show.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It's sort of like same thing Jaron does, and well, Globebusters used to do.
Yeah, I liked what Patricia did. In fact, I completely ripped her off as my entry into this discussion forum. So I thought I really wanted to. I'd been making video logs on the subject for a little bit, and I thought, no, I admire what Patricia Steer's doing. I aspire to be like that. That's something I can try and emulate. And I did. I tried to emulate. I told her this. I was like, I just tried to copy what you did because I liked what you did. So I had a show then after making all sorts of video logs about space and all the normal things you make when you first get to Flat Earth. I had a show called Flat Earth UK, and that was emulating what Patricia Steer did with Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. And I often had points where I would be trying to get guests and she would be trying to get guests. And in one instance, Math Powerland, who disappeared off the scene for a significant period of time while, Jaron and Globebusters and me and Patricia and all the rest of it were making videos, Math wasn't. He kind of disappeared and wasn't talking to anybody. I mean, he was talking to people, don't get me wrong, but, he wasn't talking to us and the wider community as we saw it at the time. And I pestered him because he was my opener into the subject. So, I don't want to say I put him on a pedestal, but to a degree I did. But I wanted to talk to him at the very least, so I pestered him. But not in the respect that I was like, give me an interview. I just wanted to talk to him and occasionally kept in touch and told him things that I'd heard on the grapevine. Tried to not befriend him, but just show that I'm not just interested in just getting an interview out of him. And at that particular point, I was interviewing people. But eventually it got to the point where I was like, enough people are pestering me to hear what you have got to say on this subject for me to want to say to you, can I interview you? You haven't been around for a while. I want to be the person that puts you back out there. So I got, again, obviously my point in this is Patricia was also asking him at the time, can I interview you? As were a few other people. And I happened to be the first to get him actually to sit in front of a camera and talk. Heartbreaking. It was about a 3-hour interview and Google only rendered 55 minutes of it, which pissed me off royally. I was heartbroken. And he came back to me afterwards. He's like, where's the rest of it? I was like, that's it. He's like, well, what about the recording? I was like, there is no recording. I don't know how to do that. Because at the time, like I say, I was fumbling my way through this stuff, not really knowing what I was doing. Anyway, there you go. There's my 2 cents on Patricia.
Nathan, what's your fondest memory? Top 3 in 1600 shows.
My fondest memory? I like every day as it comes. Right here, right now, I feel very privileged sat here with an audience of 130 people listening to us talk about the nature of reality. So my proudest, fondest, happiest moment is this moment, right now. With you all around me talking about this subject, a show running smoothly, a computer that's not on fire. I'm very happy.
Okay, good. But now, moments that you can say are top 3 moments out of 1600 shows, what would they be?
It's not one moment. I can't pin down the moment where I realised that the calculator that we were using forced us into a position of loss the moment we started discussing it. I can't say when I realised, and therefore ended up with the description of a begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator. That has only come out of the fact that at some stage during the debate, I realised that entering into a discussion with a begging the question fallacy of a calculator that's already got the outcome assumed will never lead you to a win in terms of proving that the Earth is flat or disproving that the Earth's a sphere. In fact, it'll do the complete opposite. You've already essentially put yourself on a road to arguing how and why of the Earth must being a sphere because you've already got it in the calculation. That was one of my fond moments, if you will. Wow, I can't believe the entire time we argued about the Isle of Man, we were on a loser every single day. All those joyous moments where we were like, yeah, we've got this photo where it doesn't quite match, and one's on screen right now, we've got Barra and Finesse or whatever it is. You're like, yeah, we've got this, and it doesn't quite match the curve calculator, and this, that, and the other way, and it was all for nothing. We'd lost the moment we used the calculator. We just didn't know it yet. I mean, here we go. It's even better. I've said it's now. John's pointed that out, right, recently. So that's a moment. Another moment would be in more recent days. I just couldn't tell you what day it was that John, the one on the panel now, pointed out in his concise way that in order to move forward in this particular argument, you have to concede that the Earth is flat to venture into the discussion of how that flat measurement makes Earth a ball. Well, that's in the last couple of weeks. Hello.
So, how flat is it? Is it like a rectangle? Is a circle, right?
Those are
Flat
shapes.
circle.
Well, those are shapes. Flat is an aspect. You've just asked us about shapes, so your question's kind of non sequitur in its formulation.
So, what shape is it?
It's an aspect. Flat is an aspect. That's twice I've told you that.
So it's flat.
That's right.
And as an aspect, and what's the shape of it?
I don't know.
Do you know?
Why? Why would we ask this individual who we've never met before if they know the shape of the Earth? One aspect
I thought he might know. Tell
one
us if you
aspect
know.
is that it's flat. Obviously, therefore, not spherical, which is an inferred aspect based on a heliocentric worldview.
Well, for the sextant to work and the elevation angles to work, the baseline has to be a plane of a straight line. Can't be curving.
Interestingly, SPPS 28, that question is formulated into the discussion before you even get here, so that the argument can take place in what's known as a false dichotomy fallacy, where you have a shape and I have a shape. But that isn't actually the structure of the argument when you're detailing a geometric aspect of the world that we stand upon and how we show it can't be spherical.
And it's a bit non sequitur since Nathan didn't make the world to ask him the shape of it.
Well, he's debating about it, so he could know. Just asking.
No, it's fair enough. That's why I said I don't know. I wish I did. I don't know what the sky is either. I'd love to. Was there anything else?
Well, it must be a plane because the sextant works on it.
Yeah, but that's just dealing in an aspect of it, it's the far-reaching implications of the question of what it is. But we don't know that. We can only describe aspects of it, which one of them would be that it has to be flat to get an angle measurement.
So then we can rule out it's a curved surface in the ball then.
Oh, definitely.
No. The aspect that we encounter, let's say for the sake of argument that at a vast scale, it had an edge somewhere with the cube beneath it. I'm not going to say it isn't that, because I just don't know. So beyond what we can experience, which is a flat plane, an aspect of the bit we deal with, there might be a shape to it. I don't know. You'd have a geometric aspect that you'd eventually encounter in that respect, like an edge, that they infer when they say we're on a sphere, which we're not, because we haven't, in the geometric aspects that we do encounter. That doesn't mean there isn't a shape. There might be. I don't know.
It's the shape of a bottom of a dome. Whatever the bottom of a dome is, that's the shape.
No, not necessarily. What I was saying though is all we can deal with is the aspect because we didn't create it to know what it is.
Can you unmute this Pun Pun guy? I think he has some arguments.
Who guy? I thought I'd got everybody. Who? Everyone is unmuted as far as
Pun Pun.
Pun Pun. Ah, yes. My bad. Yeah, done. Hey, Adam. Did you have something you wanted to ask us, Pun Pun?
Hi, I have a question about scales and how they work on a flat map.
Sorry, did somebody here claim something using scales and a flat map?
What? Sorry?
Who is this? It's, at some point, somebody has obviously claimed something using scales and a flat map for you to attack them on it, right? Who is this addressed to that's made a claim about scales being used on a flat map? Who's made that claim? So we know it's directed to.
Pun Pun and you, Nathan.
What claim did I make? Just before you do, sorry. Shout out to Samuel Goat for the super chat. He says, could I have quick summary of the declination angles and how anti-flat earthers are wrong to claim them? Thanks.
Excuse me? I don't understand.
I'm shouting out a super chat, which I'm just contemplating whether or not I should address. Thank you for the super chat, Samuel. We may come back to this. Pun Pun. Did you say I'd claimed something? What was it I claimed exactly?
No, I didn't say you claimed anything. I was just curious about how scales work. Like a meter or something.
Just curious about how scales work. I don't follow why you'd come here and ask us about how scales work. Shouldn't you be asking a maths forum or something? Maybe
no, since you're on a flat plane, right? A meter on the North Pole should be different in Antarctica since it's stretched.
What?
He's begging the question already that he lives on a sphere.
Hold on.
Correct.
Hold on. I don't understand what he's asking. You're going to have to lay it out in a bit more concise detail.
You know what a scale is, right? Like meters or kilometers or miles.
You're talking about a weighing scale or a scale to scale a map to or something like that?
Yeah, just like a distance unit.
So a key scale to a map sort of thing. A scaling ratio, is that what you mean?
I think he's talking about a unit of measure being a meter, and he's saying the meter unit of measure should change based on a flat versus curved surface.
You don't need a scale for a meter. A meter is a meter, isn't it? Wherever you are.
Yes,
You're
but like
draw a map
according to the
and
flat Earth,
represent
it would
1
be
centimeter
stretched.
equals 2 meters or 3 meters. Then that would be the scale on a model, wouldn't it? You would have a scale. That's what I was asking. Is it a scale for weight or is it a scale for a model?
A scale for the model, like distance.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that, Adam. So which model are you talking about? You said flat, inferring that that's a model that we've got?
Yes, I typically see like on a flat Earth group or
Sorry,
something they have.
Stop a second. Just 1 second. Sorry, when you say you typically see, is that your way of basically justifying this stereotyping fallacy that you're about to employ, by any chance?
No, I'm sorry. I'm not that good at English. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll try and break that down for you. Based on what you generally see, are you going to infer that what you've generally seen is somehow a model I've claimed?
Well, no, but I
said
believe
flat.
that
We've now clarified that we're talking about scales on models. You've said flat. Is that the model of flat that you are inferring I've claimed or not?
Yes.
Oh, right. That would be called a, get your pen, It's a bit of English for you. Stereotyping fallacy. I haven't claimed any model for you to give me a scale to argue about, have I? It's just what you generally see when you imply this, get it down, stereotyping fallacy. Okay?
Do you have any arguments?
Sorry, was I talking to you, bitch?
Round?
Was I talking to you? So,
He was done.
Pun. Wasn't talking to you. Pun. Do you understand now that you're about to use a stereotyping fallacy? Because then I'm going to go on to explain why you will be doing that with the other fallacy you're about to launch into, which is called a false dichotomy fallacy. Just need to know if you understand what a stereotyping fallacy is, given you said your English isn't very good, so I've taken my time to explain it to you.
Okay. Do you have like a map?
Sorry, do I have? No, I do not. You've already started to launch into a false dichotomy fallacy where you hold up a map I haven't claimed with a model scale I haven't used to argue the toss in what's called a false dichotomy. This globe Earth model versus this flat Earth stereotyping fallacy model I haven't claimed. That's called a false dichotomy fallacy. Do you understand that?
Yep.
Excellent. So, outside of the stereotyping fallacy and false dichotomy fallacy about scaling on models we haven't claimed, was there anything else you wanted to put forth here, Pan or Pun?
So sorry. What did you say? My Wi-Fi was not that good.
What else have you got other than a stereotyping fallacy leading into a false dichotomy fallacy? Is there anything else you've got for us?
I got another question, but I'm not sure if you have the answer for it.
Well, you're not going to find out unless you ask, and I'm inviting you to do so.
All right. My question is how do sunrises and sunsets work?
The answer is in the question. When you say work, that work being forcing something to do something else, something being achieved in that process. What do you mean by work? How do we visually observe them? What do you mean, work?
Well, how does a day cycle work besides from a global model?
So shouldn't you be telling me that, given that's your claim? Why are you asking me that? That's your claim. Do you want to launch into telling me how you think the sun works on your model? Or did you need me to be claiming it on a model I haven't claimed first for you to attack that? Did you want to make your claim about how you think the sun works on your model that you're going to reify into existence? Did you want to do that? That's a claim that you'd be making then. Off you go. How do you think the sun works on your globe model?
So you guys don't have a model?
That's called a reification fallacy. Ever heard of that? The map is not the terrain.
Yeah, it's not.
So who cares what your model says the sun does?
Do we live on a model?
No, we don't.
Oh, okay. So why are you asking about one?
Just likes models, I guess. I don't know. We don't live on a model. Who cares what your model says the sun does? I watch the sun come up in the morning, go down at night. What do you want?
Did I wake up in 2015?
So beyond, so you're not attempting to tell us something that you're asking about us in spite of the fact we haven't claimed anything, and we've already taken apart the fact that unless you've got a false dichotomy and stereotyping fallacy to burn as a straw man fallacy, you haven't got anything, and you don't seem to be claiming what you say the sun and moon do on your model. That'd be a reification fallacy. Anything else?
That's pretty much it.
So you have precisely nothing to offer to prove you are on a sphere, in spite of being under the misapprehension you are on a sphere. I've got a question for you. I've got a question for you. How would you measure a horizontal, that's a angle measurement from the horizontal, known as an elevation angle, if the ground is curving away from you. How would you do that?
How to detect curvature?
How would you measure an elevation angle if you have curvature?
Well, I'm not that smart actually.
Oh, right. But you've come here asking us about straw men we haven't claimed. I don't get it.
No, I'm sorry, but I was just curious. I didn't do that much research. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. You can't. If Earth was a sphere, you wouldn't be able to measure an angle.
What, may I make a claim?
Sure.
Hold on. How about like photos of the Earth?
Oh, here we go. Go on, John, then we'll come back to his second claim.
I
Hold on,
did wake
Neil,
up in
Neil,
2015.
Neil. Go ahead, John. We're still live, by the way.
Well, the model that he invoked when he was trying to bring about a false dichotomy is utilizing the elevation angles to acquire a radial value. But that necessitates a flat plane. So the model he invoked is a flat plane model, and I just want to know if he understands that.
Okay, and we'll see if we can clarify it before he tells us about pictures of Earth from a second law of thermodynamics violation, sky vacuum. So, do you understand that both of the models that you implied in your false dichotomy were developed from measurements of a flat plane? That would be elevation angle measurements. Did you know that, Pun Pun? Your globe comes from a flat Earth angle measurement?
I'm not aware.
Are you aware now that without the ability to measure an angle off a flat surface, you couldn't derive an R value and sphericity to assert your model? Earth has to be flat to get the maths of those angles to assert Earth's a sphere. I'm telling you, not asking you.
Oh, right.
Earth must be flat to measure elevation angles to infer it's a sphere.
Now, that's a positive claim. Now you can try and attack it if you wish.
He's lost.
He hasn't, he's just heard the claim. Earth must be flat to get your globe. That's a claim we've made. I mean, before you got to your claim, we pulled apart the three fallacies you used. That would be stereotyping fallacy, false dichotomy fallacy, and strawman fallacy, followed by a reification fallacy. So what you had, Pun Pun, was 4 fallacies. SPPS. Now we've ripped this guy a new one. Did you want a white knight for him again, perhaps?
Pardon?
Did you want to white knight for this guy who has used 4 fallacies? I didn't think so. Pun Pun, you said you'd got pictures of Earth from space. Are you aware of gas behaviour?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Are you aware that gas expands in all directions to fill the availability of volume it has to fill?
Yes.
Ergo, space would be an area of volume for the gas we breathe to fill. We'd all be dead if space was real.
What about? I'm sorry, but like, gravity that holds that in, right?
No. Gravity is not a force, end quote George Musa. Gravity is a fourth-dimensional bending of space-time in a conceptual medium, not in line with entropy. Meanwhile, we have natural laws that describe how things actually occur in physicality, as opposed to fake fourth-dimensional places that don't exist. That's gravity. So your misapprehension about gravity overcoming the natural law of entropy, do you understand that no, bending fourth-dimensional space-time doesn't hold gas next to a ball in a sky vacuum? Natural law still stands. Gas fills space. That's what it does. gravity's not a force to hold gas here. Are we clear?
Sorry, but doesn't the curvature of space-time makes like a high and low energy point, so
Right,
the atmosphere would be at the low
you
energy
think what I've just made clear is a conventional, fourth dimensional, non-existent place we can't travel to. You think that has some effect on something. Please, can you show me space-time so I can establish how much effect it's going to have on something? Show me space-time. Go.
Oh, I mean, I can't show physically.
So you can't show me this thing that's going to have an effect on it then? So how on unholy hell do you think it's going to have an effect on something if you can't even show it me? No, you can't show it me because it's a conceptual fourth dimension. That's not something you experience in physicality. It's just maths, mate. Doesn't have any effect on anything. It's not even a force.
So you
What
can't
about like
show up.
all the research that has gone into it and all the evidence?
What evidence would that be? Show me space-time.
Well, you can show the effects of it, like clocks on the ice.
Sorry, you're going to
and
show
on
me the
Earth.
effects of space-time? Sorry, no. Do you not understand what space-time's supposed to be?
I'm aware of it.
It's an effect. So you're going to show me the effect of an effect? No, just show me the effect. That's space-time. The curvature thereof, that's an effect. But you think you can show me the effect of this effect? You're talking gibberish nonsense. Do you even know what gravity is? Define it for me.
I'm aware of it, what it is.
Define it then.
Find gravity.
The thing you're claiming. Third time. Define it for me. I suppose you have no idea what gravity is. That's why I'm asking you to define it. And you're asking me if gravity is the thing I'm asking you to... Yeah, it is. Do you want to define it for us? Go.
It's the curvature of space-time.
So there's more to it than that. That's not the definition of gravity. There's far more to it.
Well, it makes time dilate because of mass.
No, that's not the definition of gravity. Still not there. So you don't know what gravity is.
You want me to explain gravity?
I want you to define it. It's 4 times. You don't know what gravity is, my friend.
He said because of mass, so he's using both.
You don't know what gravity is. You're claiming it's a force holding
feeling.
gas here, yet you don't know what it is. You can't even define it correctly. You had half a go, but you haven't defined it correctly yet.
No, wait. I'm just here to open my eyes, but
All right.
you guys seem pretty rude.
Okay. Close your ears, close your mouth. Yeah, that's how you open your eyes, is it? No. Your
I'm
ideas
listening,
of
but-
gravity, that's not opening your eyes. That's you talking over me. Your ideas of gravity are that A, it holds gas here and stops it following a law of nature. That would be the second law of thermodynamics, entropy increase. Gas filling space, as you conceded you understand. You understand gas fills space, yeah? Yeah. But gravity, what's that? The bending of a conceptual medium. Well, that's not physical reality, and it's certainly not holding gas against a sphere in a vacuum. That's the 3rd time I've gone through it with you, but yet when I ask you to define the thing you've tried to overcome this with, which is gravity, you can't define it correctly.
But
So,
really appreciating
space is
the ton
fake.
of words.
So, conclusion time. Your stuttering and stammering isn't a rebuttal. Yeah, conclusion. You claim to have pictures from a second law of thermodynamics violation. That would be a space, called space, how ironic, for gas to fill. And we breathe high-pressure gas here. Well, high-pressure gas wants to expand in all directions to fill the availability of space it has to fill, and space is claimed to be a space the gas could fill. Gravity's not a force holding it here. It's the bending of a conceptual medium. We don't have a 4th dimension to bend. You can't show it me, as you've already conceded. The fact that you can't show it me should tell you it's not a bloody force holding gas here. Okay? Does that open your eyes enough to know that space isn't real and you haven't got any pictures from there? It's Narnia. Doesn't exist. It violates natural law.
Yeah.
So space is fake? You don't have pictures from there?
I mean, dude, when Nathan said before that, gas expands to fill its container, you said you understood that, right? But then you started talking about gravity. What direction is gravity, whatever that is, supposed to make things go?
To the largest mass.
Mass. What direction would that be?
Well, the great attractor.
In the case of your model that you're talking about, what direction would that be?
Toward the sun.
You mean like everything in the universe?
Dude, I said gas. Just gas.
Said the greatest
not everything
mass.
in the universe.
He's saying if you infer... Let me just break down what he's asking you, Pun. You're saying that the gas doesn't fill the volume because of gravity. Okay. That infers a vector to the gas then, doesn't it? And Chocolate's asking, well, what direction is that then? If you're saying, no, gravity has an effect on the gas, all right, and the effect is a vector, what vector is that? That's what he's asking you.
What vector of what again?
The gas.
I
I say gas fills space, moves out in whatever direction it's travelling, and just carries on moving in that direction until it collides with a container or another gas particle. It doesn't change direction otherwise, just continues in whatever velocity. Yeah, might go through various different temperatures and therefore go a little bit slower. But ultimately speaking, unless it collides with something, it just carries on in whatever direction it's got. Now you're saying no gravity. Oh, right. So what does that mean? Does that mean that it doesn't carry on in the vector it's got? What does it mean? What vector is gravity? Third time. Chocolate's tried. I've tried twice. Your claim. You're the one claiming this gravity, by the way.
Vector means direction, in case you don't know.
Yeah, I'm aware,
which way is it going?
If gravity's affecting gas, which way is gas going?
It depends on which angle it hits, right?
What's it hitting now?
The container you guys were talking
Sorry, container?
about.
In your sky vacuum belief, there is no container. There's a sky vacuum to travel to without containment, precluding the flight, getting to the sky vacuum to take your pictures, you claimed. So you concede now that for gas pressure to develop in the first instance, that would be pressing on something. It's got to have a container. And your sky vacuum, yeah, that doesn't work with that, does it? You're saying they just travel out to an empty space. The gas doesn't, but they do. Right? No, your pictures, no, they're not real, mate. We just need you to say, yeah, I get it. I said we got pictures of Earth from space. We haven't, we'd be dead. The gas would fill the space like you think the men can. So the men can go to the space, but the gas that by nature wants to do that naturally won't.
Right.
Not right. The gas would fill the space. It's called entropic law. So space is fake.
So never mind.
Never mind, you're the one claiming this. Do you mean never mind? You have claimed pictures from space. Hello. Do you mean never mind and then jabber through the top of me when I say no? You've claimed pictures from space. Do you now understand why that is not the case and that is not proving the Earth's a sphere? Do you understand? Not never mind. We've just gone to great pains to explain how you're wrong. Not never mind. Yes, I get it. No pictures from space. The gas would fill the area the men are claimed to go to. Not men travel through gas and suddenly they pass through it and it stops, but they carry on. That violates natural law. Do you get it? Not never mind. Do you understand now? Man who claimed pictures from violation of natural laws, sky vacuum. Do you get it?
Yep.
Why did you claim it then?
I was just curious what you think of it.
It's fake. I think it's fake. You now understand it's fake. Now, given you didn't realise but now do realise that those pictures are fake, what do you think about your sphere Earth belief? With literally bogus fake pictures being given to you that you claimed until 5 minutes ago. Your claim to be pictures that prove Earth's a sphere are fake. What do you think about that, dipshit?
I didn't claim it was a globe earther in the first place. I was just curious of what you think of it.
Why are you claiming it then? Why would you throw up pictures of Earth from space if you're not a bloody globe earther?
I just wanted to know what you think of it, that's all.
I think they're fake because the space they've come from is a second law of thermodynamics violation. I've explained what I think about them and debunked the place they've come from. Now I'm saying, given I've debunked the place they come from, what are your thoughts on it, given that you put it forward?
Well, it's not true, I guess.
Dude.
Not true. Oh, right. Hey, SPPS, you opened the door for this dude, remember?
Yes.
He's saying pictures of Earth from space not real, I guess. What do you think about that?
I think...
Laugh it up. What do you think about those absolutely unequivocally fake pictures of Earth from space? Space is fake, I guess. His opinion. You opened the door for him. Now I want to know what you think.
I think the Earth is a globe. I think that's a fact.
And why would you think that? When we've proven that it's got fake pictures backing it. You wouldn't need to fake pictures of Earth as a globe if it really was. But we've just proven that the pictures are fake. So what, pray tell, would ever give you that idea, given that they're literally faking pictures of it as a sphere? Why would you think that? That's stupid.
I thought that because there are maps of the globe Earth that actually works, and the flat Earth doesn't have a map.
I see. The globe Earth maps were derived by way of elevation angles off a flat plane. We went through that earlier. Weren't you listening? You couldn't have a globe model without elevation angles off a flat plane? Did that bit slip you by earlier? Your globe model's derived from a flat plane.
Why is it derived from a flat plane?
Because you can't get elevation angles off a curved surface.
It would just be the diameter. That's diameter of from the center. That would be the elevation.
Sorry, you get the centre, that would be the radius, by derivation of angles taken from a flat plane. Third time. Are you slow? You got that value, centre of Earth, you just assumed with a begging the question fallacy. Fourth time. By way of elevation angles taken from a flat plane. Yeah, we're still not establishing why you think Earth's a sphere. The model you've inferred, with a radius you've inferred, was derived from a flat plane.
Flat plane in...
Yes, flat plane. Was that does not compute flat plane needed? does not work. Syntax error. Any response?
I don't think that she understands that even to get the globe model, you have to start out flat. You have to start with a flat map.
No, we definitely don't get it.
Not a map. Reality.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Sorry.
I don't get that.
She
Why?
was. She's thinking of elevation being from center of the earth, as opposed to what Nathan was talking about is elevation angles of the stars above our heads, which form the celestial sphere, to which they then presume that it's the earth that's curved, causing those elevation angle changes.
Yeah, but
That
you
you
missed
couldn't
out a
get from
step.
curved
You
surface.
missed out the angle measurement that they then superimposed to the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. In that instance, that's called the equatorial plane. So they're still taking the angle measurement from a plane at the centre of a sphere Earth, though, aren't they?
Correct.
No, the measurements are from the surface of Earth.
Indeed. Elevation
Yeah.
angle measurements are from the surface of Earth, even though they take them to the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth on a plane at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth. They're actually taken from the surface of Earth.
Yep.
Correct.
And the celestial.
Well, the celestial
By
sphere, when they
looking
show
at-
the equatorial plane, is projected out to an infinite distance, and then you just have this little ball wrapped around the equatorial plane that you're actually getting the angle from. In other words, it's just benign. It's not even... It's useful for nothing. Shout out to Legit for joining as a channel member. I think I might have missed somebody else joining as a member earlier while we were discussing stuff. I'll just scroll back up and see if we are. I will round out in the next 2 or 3 minutes for this live show, which has been extended as it's a special edition 1600th show. Woo-hoo-hoo! No, I don't think.
Well, the point that kind of got glossed over is if you were trying to take angles from a curved surface, you could never get an angle. That's the problem that I don't think she's recognizing.
Okay.
I don't think she's on the level of that just yet. Let's get back to our not to get away from
Agreed.
elevation angles. Hold on a second. She
Okay.
said all maps. Where's your map? Like she has a globe Earth map. All maps are flat Earth maps. By the way, from its tactical navigation, the complete guide to land navigation. The military grid reference system is a geographic coordinate system that comes from the Universal Transverse Mercator UTM grid system, which is based on a flat world, not a sphere. I addressed it to you, SPPS28, in main chat. There's that argument gone. What else you got?
Let me read that.
Go ahead.
Anybody
But
else?
the other guy reads it too, because he asked about maps too.
Pun. He's
Yeah,
already
20
conceded. Once you've said, I've got proof of a sphere Earth, it's come from a place that doesn't exist, and you concede that that's not possible, then you've got to start contemplating, why would I present something that's a clear lie? Then you've got a lot more things to worry about as far as I'm concerned. You know,
What about all the top secret spots on a sphere that would supposedly exist and the unknown spots that we've never been to, supposedly? And then where would all the spherical city, country, like where are the other little piece of sphere maps that you would just use for city and stuff? Just like the little top sections. Where are those at? The rounded ones. Like for this lady to think everything's a sphere map, like it's just, that's just crazy.
With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's extended live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, however, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. As I say, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell, but a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, hit the PayPal link, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video. Shout out to Skeptic936 for hitting the super chat right at the end of the live show. He says $16 for 1,600 shows. Thank you very much indeed for hitting the super chat. And smash the PayPal link if you want to support this show.